And so what do you find is like the biggest problem that men have today in terms of, of masculinity?
Yeah, I think they don't know because not a lot of men, the fathers before us, haven't told us about it. They hadn't emphasized it, whether they were going through their bad relationships or whatever we're trying to survive. We didn't have that leadership. So a lot of us Generation Xers, a lot of us millennials, we were without masculine figures. All right. The emphasis was on corporate men, right? Working in cubicle X, Y, and Z, and the blue collar man was phased out, right? Those men were losers. So in essence, that rough and gruff masculine man didn't exist in our mind, right?
Right.
So what happened was, this is what I think what's missing with men. They're lost in terms of what to prioritize first as they grow up. We listen to music. Hip hop music tells us chase ass, chase women, right? Yeah. Go after the ass, go after the women. And dude, you're fueled with testosterone. Of course, you're going to go after ass and women. So it makes sense why we were distracted and led that way. And men then find shortcuts in order to receive that pleasure, right? They go through every single shortcut.
Yep.
On how to get there. What do I need to do? What do I need to say? How do I need to text her? Instead of saying, and I wish I would have known what I'm telling men now. I wish I would have known this 20 years ago. Instead of building yourself first and letting women be the byproduct of success.
Right.
Because that's how they choose. Doesn't matter what you look like. I mean, listen, it helps when you look like John, right? And have success. But if you have success early on in life, it's going to trump all the other things that we complain about. 6 foot, 6 figure, 6, all of this stuff. So that's what's missing today.
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, because it's, again, I get a lot of guys that always are asking me questions about like, how should I text this girl? What should I do? And it's almost like the answer really is like, I mean, I can give you my opinion on it and some advice on it, but to me, it's like feeding a man a fish instead of teaching him how to fish. It's because if you work on yourself first, then you know what to say, because you're coming from who you are as a man. You're projecting outward instead of trying to like manipulate, trying to say the right thing where you're trying to play this little game instead of it being your value. Like you can't say the wrong thing when you're high value. So
100%. Saying the right thing becomes easy when you're a little bit more successful, because you put yourself in the right circumstances to find that success, right? Yeah. If you have a little bit of success, you're not going to put yourself with low value women and then have to depend on what you say with these women to get them in bed, right? I mean, those things become apparent more when you get more money, right? Or have a little bit more success, or your body gets, women are going to see you. And this is the whole cold approach. We can kind of talk about that a little bit later, but the whole thing with the cold approach is, well, I look at it as more of a warm approach, because once you've already have a little bit more status and success, you're going to put yourself in realms where women are going to find you. Like they're intentional about being in those same realms. Well, now that's warm. All right. Now you've given yourself an opportunity because she's intentionally there for a man like you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah. Because if you're, because you're that status is like, even if it's situational status, it becomes pretty apparent, because a lot of it is just how you carry yourself, how you're interacting with people, and then it becomes pretty clear that you're a man of value, and then the women are more open to you, even if you're approaching them, whether we call it cold approach or not, they've already noticed you before you're actually
before you even got over there. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. I think that's a good way. Definitely. I've talked about it and had guys doing cold approach where they're successful, but the success rate is much higher when you're already got the other shit in line, right?
Yep.
So, and I think that's the key. Is otherwise you end up wasting a lot of time. I think a lot of guys, especially in their 20s, they're wasting a shit ton of time cold approaching and doing this when they haven't gone to the gym, they haven't gotten in shape. So I mean, they're even though looks aren't the only thing that matter, it does matter. Like it's going to help your odds for a lot, and they haven't figured out who they are as men, so they don't even really project that masculine image when they talk to women. So yeah, it could work, but the odds are so small, and they waste so much time when they should be hustling and building themselves.
It's a simple formula, but a lot of guys don't want to be as patient with it, right? But I look at it as a guy in his 20s. If you lay the seeds, right? If you lay the seeds and the groundwork for for 5, 6, 7, 8 years,
right,
then you're gonna have what you want from 28 and up. You're gonna have what you want. Plus, the advantage starts tilting your way on the marketplace, right? Women start to hit the wall. All right, if they party girl, their raspy voice, if they smoked out, all right, they're gonna just be fine, right? All of a sudden, now you're rising up, as a lot of them are having less options and less success because a new 18-year-old hits the marketplace every year, right? Now, if you do that, it's gonna be smooth sailing going forward. Yeah. But if you don't, then you're going to deal with a lot of the issues that we now as men have dealt with, coming from a position of weakness and begging of women. And now we got married, or we dealt with toxic women, and we had frustrations on the dating landscape. Now you're dealing with us. You know what I mean? And now you're dealing with the people that we are now trying to educate and correct their lives. We're trying to tell these 20-year-olds, don't do what we did.
Right? Exactly.
Don't do what we did, because we did it the bad way, and now we found out. Now we're at age 38 trying to correct our lives. See, we don't want you to get there, and so they can benefit from guys like you, so they don't end up listening to me 10 years later.
Exactly. Yeah. No. And and it's so true. I think a lot of guys, they don't even realize that if they take care of themselves, that they will be better off with women in their late 30s, mid 30s, even 40s. And because I think a lot of the kind of the black pill stuff, they're like, oh yeah, that's it's a cope. It's not true. But I mean, science, well, dating apps prove it out, right? I can tell you for sure that that the success rate for guys that are in their 30s and even 40s, for especially even for younger women, is so much higher than you would have in your 20s, for most guys, right? Because you have so much time to develop yourself. And let me see. I got a couple of super chats here. We got Clue with hashtag Coach Gang. Appreciate it, Clue. And then what we got? We got Avid Hiker. He says, appreciate it, $20. If women occupy 25% of your daily thoughts, you got to fix that codependency and need a validation from women. Thank you, and Coach Greg Adams, for the work you do. You're a father figure to me, and I'm pretty sure to many others as well. Awesome.
Thank you, brother. Avid Hiker, definitely.
So what do guys need to do then? I think this is where we definitely have a huge amount of overlap in trying to get young guys, especially to get their shit together. What do you think that guys need to do, especially like in their 20s, instead of going out and focusing so much of their time on women?